What's up, guys? This is Connect Vapor here, and like I did say, I was going to do progression stories. So I dragged my buddy's ass out in the cold here in Canada. What is it, like 20-minute walk?
Probably like 40.
Alright, close enough. Anyways, he wasn't actually knowing about the fact he was going to be on the video, but
No idea.
I figured why not do a progression story right away, because I did drag his ass out of the house, so hey, let's give him some credit in the YouTube video, right?
It's not like you would have walked.
We know that. So, first and foremost, following kind of like the suit that everybody does on YouTube when it comes to stories of quitting smoking or attempting. Introduce yourself.
Steven, I am now a vapor. I have quit smoking about 2 years ago.
Off and on.
Yeah, well, I have the occasional smoke here and there, but before that I had like, what, almost 2 packs a day?
I was about to ask you, you smoked roughly 2.
Yeah, about 2
and
packs
then when
a
you
day.
were drinking, it was even worse.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
The more you, if you're a smoker and you drink, you smoke more. And some people who used to smoke, if they don't anymore, when they drink, it's the only time they smoke.
Yep. So, a couple of questions for you, even though I know the answer to this. How did you get into vaping?
Well, that would be you, sir. You gave me, what was it, that little,
That's a terrible thing.
One of
Oh,
those
God.
cheapies.
Okay, so what had happened was, I, way back in the day, probably, I think it was March or April when I got the kit, and then it wasn't until July when I actually started out with, not the tank, but the iTaste SVD, which he now has. Okay, so I went into a terrible, pizza shop, which, anyways, the guy's like, yeah, I sell, e-cigarettes, I'll sell you a kit for 60. So I'm like, alright, cool, 60 bucks. I bought it. I would say it was along the lines of an ego style, kind of like a Big Sig-alike, but the problem was, it was terrible. Like, when you went to refill the tanks, leak, and it was terrible, and after a while, I decided to stop in at my local vape shop, and I picked up, like I said, not the tank, but I did pick up an iTaste SVD to start. So then I gave my terrible, well, which I didn't find out was terrible until later on in the run, I gave both of the e-cigs to him. And after a while, he went to, what did you go to, Canada E-Juice for the first time, and actually got flavors one day when I went in?
I think so.
I think it was the day I went in to get the iTaste.
I think it was, yeah.
That's the day I gave you
to
the
me.
e-cigs.
Yeah, and it was that one with that little black charger that had the big thick piece to it.
Yeah,
and you had to pull off the tank and then to screw it on. It was garbage. That
was a waste of $60. I could have started out quitting
Way
smoking
better.
a lot better with, I did find with the iTaste. What was your first experience coming from cancer sticks to an e-cig?
Flavor was a hell of a lot better, that's for sure. It was like taking a cigarette and then adding, what, a couple milliliters of flavoring.
See, that's the thing.
Plus, you didn't have that nasty smell in your fingers.
Yeah,
that was the main thing what I hated for cigarettes. The smell in your fingers. Most people who actually do smoke.
Now my fingers really smell like vape.
But it smells a lot better than the nasty shit you get from cigarettes from the tar and shit. Yeah.
So, leading up to a few months later when I guess we think we both went in to get the e-fire, didn't we? But no, you went.
No, I went because you decided you didn't want to go, and then you missed out on a good weekend.
Yeah, apparently they were having I believe it was their opening weekend for their new location, and it was, I don't know, I was sick or I was lazy or something.
You were lazy,
and
you just wouldn't want to go.
Steven's like, let's go, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go, and apparently that was my fault. He came back with like...
I had the Canada E-Juice bag, the one that you could pull behind you with the strings.
Tell the viewers, not me, I already know.
Well, basically it was a bag where you had Canada E-Juice logo on it, you could put behind your back and tie it up with the 4 strings, 2 on each side, that came into one. Then you had... several flavors that they had that were just made, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there was like 5 new flavors.
Yeah,
and you picked up 4 of them.
I got one. No, what it was is I got 1 free flavor. Then I got the one when I bought the E-Fire X-Fire. Then I got the 4 or 5 free vapes from their contest.
That is true.
From that little hat, you pull out a number and then you would get either a starter kit or 4 or 5. I can't remember the exact number. 6 milliliters. Was it?
The big bottles?
No, the small ones. I'm trying to remember.
10.
10 milliliters.
The big ones are 30.
Yeah. So you get 4 of those, and well, and you also got a little package thing to hold it in.
Yep.
I have that. So I actually still have that still. Until you broke the little piece that keeps it together, the string.
Shh, that's not
broke that.
No, I'm an asshole. Anyways, tell me about. Obviously, in the long run, his e-fire did end up breaking, but in the time of having it
was awesome.
Give me some thoughts. I mean, you definitely went from a bunch of those flavors being shit, by the way.
They were really bad.
They were terrible. Tell us about your signature favorite flavor before you found the flavor you have now, which we'll get into later.
I remember what that was. I know the one I have now, but I can't remember my favorite one. You don't remember?
Let's give you a hint.
The very first one I tried was that black cherry.
Okay, let's move on to the one you bought a 30 milliliter bottle of. It's the top selling game.
That's it, 117, which was a reference to, if most people who know about it, Halo and Master Chief in general. That was a really good flavor. He didn't like it at all.
I was terribly hated it.
I loved it. But now my favorite one is the cinnamon Danish. This is my favorite one to date as far. So I definitely like cinnamon. Definitely try it out. Very good.
Oh, and just a little pointer for anybody who is Canadian. Canada E-Juice does ship all over Canada. I probably don't know if I can shout them out, but check out their website, CanadaEjuice.com. I guess while we're doing a vape blog, I got all of everything I have so far, which is the Magneto Mech Mod and the Atlantis he's holding, my Sub Tank and my Smoke BEC, and the Nautilus tank, my RDA, the Drip Tip. Everything I've gotten so far has been from our local vape shop. You know, gotta support the local business. But here's a question. How often do you crave an occasional cigarette? And is it normally more when you're around smokers or when you have no e-juice, which is usually the biggest downfall too?
It's usually when I have no e-juice. Usually when I have the ability to use my e-cig, when I see someone smoking, that's when I go and I grab it right away.
Question for you that I think everybody has asked me in the city. If you're around a smoker and they light a cigarette, does the smell still get you, the very fresh lit cigarette?
No. I don't really smell anything besides cigarette.
No, but what I mean is, like, if someone lights a cigarette beside you, when you smell that fresh lit, is there still a craving to smoke a cigarette?
Well, first thing I see someone with a cigarette, or it doesn't matter if they just light it or not, I will grab my e-cig and use it.
Good, next question. The smell of stale cigarettes, it's gotten old to you, right? Like, you know, you walk in and someone's coat smells like
I don't smell it.
Fuck, you're lucky.
I never smell it. The only time I smell it is if it's on my fingers.
Fair enough.
That's it. I don't smell it in the room. I don't smell it on clothes. My mom and sister. Not me.
Well, so it's been... I was March or April, I believe. So it's been a little under a year for myself. And you started a couple months later when I decided to give you the piece of crap. So that would have been May or June. So we're both coming up to our year mark.
Yeah,
now, let's ask you this in the easiest possible way. How do you feel not having 300 pounds of chemicals in your lungs?
This is probably going to sound weird to some people, but I feel the same.
Yeah, it definitely sounds weird to me alone. I mean, I wasn't nearly as heavy of a smoker as him. I was like, when I was younger, like 13, 14, 15, before I came back to this area, I would smoke all the time to literally fit in with everybody and anybody. If smoking was a way to fit in, I would do it. But I will admit, I can't run for shit anyways. No. I get tired out more than you can imagine.
You really can't.
But there's a difference. I like being able to go out to a bar or sit at home and pull out a drink and not have the urge to pull out a stick. Instead, I pull out a pipe bomb. You would be surprised. People seemingly think I'm carrying a war device. Like, I'm just going to throw it. It's going to blow up. When you're out and around the city, or anywhere else, do you get occasional looks or stares or anything about your e-cig?
The most I get is if I'm with, for instance, if I go outside the mall or a bar and I'm smoking with other smokers, then they ask about it, and then that's how our conversations get started. It always starts with me with my e-cig.
Going into that point, do you think there's anybody you know that would be smoking that you could potentially educate? Seeing as the main idea.
Dave. He still he's still kind of ignorant in that sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. He gives me strange looks when I...
You still need to get your mom to
Yeah, well, we all know the chances of that is slim to none. Anyways, I have a couple thoughts to ask you before this video, because I think I'm pulling 10, and I don't think you can have it longer than 10 minutes if you're not partnered. Or 15, I think.
It's
Anyways,
15 the most now.
Okay, good. Well, to ask you this in the greatest way, how do you feel now that you're basically quit, the occasional cigarette? Do you feel like you'd want to go back to cigarettes as a necessity, or can you always see yourself slowly lowering the nicotine in your vape and your e-liquid and potentially at one point just using it to show off?
Definitely the second one, minus in the showing off part. That's mostly you.
Yeah, well, that's me anyways.
Eventually, I want to get completely off these.
And just not have anything?
Yep.
You're strange. I don't think I'll ever stop using these.
Probably
but then
not.
again, I'm only at 3 milligrams of nicotine in all of my current juices, and I think a few of them have 0. Let's take a look at these. Yeah, these are all max PG or max VG3. So let's end this video with a few things. One, clouds. Oh, I also forgot to mention, by the way. So I did give Steven my iTaste SVD, but my tanks that came with the SVD were shit, so I went out and suggested picking up a little Kanger E-Mao.
Only $20 works beautifully. Now
my attempt is I do have a few more vape males coming in that you guys will see, so eventually he's going to get... Well, we're giving him juices today, but he's going to get something because I have a few more mods and tanks coming in. So, to end this video, let's end it with some clouds.
Alright.
I wanted to thank you for, 1, walking your ass out here to visit me, and 2, being in the
Yeah,
video
if you're
today.
lazy to do so.
You guys will eventually see more updates with him when the summertime comes and it's not minus 6 degrees Canadian temperature and roughly 21 or 20 Fahrenheit for my American friends. Anyways, guys, thank you to Steven for coming, and remember, vaping is the way to go.